Welcome. Let's take a look at what we're drinking today. I am unbelievably stoked to be holding this bottle in my hands. Not just because I was able to find another one out in the market, but that this bottle was handed to me by the winemaker himself. Today we have the Sabroso, which is the 2018 Cabernet Pfeffer from Vöcal Vineyards, made by the team of Ian Brand and Ted Glennon. If you've not heard of Cabernet Pfeffer before, you're not alone. It's actually an obscure French grape called Morteau, and it's only grown pretty much in the Kiln Valley AVA, which is just outside of Hollister, California in San Benito County. This AVA is dominated by one particular vineyard, the Enz Vineyard, which is home to some classic, and I mean classic, homesteader plantings in California's history dating back to the late 19th century. The vineyard was discovered in 1923 by the Enz family, and they've been dry farming it ever since. In addition to having one of the rare plantings of Cabernet Pfeffer out there, are known for their old vine Mourvedre, Pinot Noir, and a couple other varietals that I don't know off the top of my head. But do your research. Anytime you see the words Enz Vineyard, Kiln Valley, the wine is going to be fantastic. I discovered this because I really like eclectic, out there wines, ones that I've not heard of, to kind of educate my palate as I move forward in my career. And this piqued my interest because I'd never heard of it, and it was local enough that I figured that I could find a bottle. So I did. I tried it out and I loved everything about it. And then I couldn't find it again. I was able to connect with the winemaker and get some direct. So let's open it up, and I'm really eager to tell you about this wine. Now, with the first bottle of this that I had, which I believe was a 2017 vintage, as soon as I poured it and was looking at it, put my nose into it, I was immediately thinking, oh, Pinot Noir maybe, some Gamay. It had the nose has that little bit to it that makes you think that it underwent carbonic maceration or came from a very like limestone, calciferous stone vineyard. And it's still there, right, with this 2018 vintage. Getting some good white pepper notes to it, ground white pepper versus just white peppercorns. And fruit-wise, it's like raspberries on the vine, that combination of raspberry sweetness, but the smell of the vines themselves. Not quite jungly, but just like that little bit of greenness to it. As I smell this a little more, it kind of does remind me of the Hard Road to Hoe Pinot Noir. Go check out that video if you haven't. This wine is dangerously drinkable right off the bat. So smooth. Strawberry, light raspberry. There's a good tingle of acidity, but not too much. Then you start to get some pepper coming through as you exhale. Nice mouthfeel to it all the way through. The fruit kind of starts to ebb in mid-palate. Not too present on the finish on first sip. So let's give it another. Yeah, now the primed palate, the tannins are starting to show up pretty well all throughout the mid and lingering on the finish. I'm getting some red fruit expression, like the front third of my tongue. That's what I think I'm picking up on. That finish is more of a cranberry flavor. So all in all, this is a beautiful, lovely wine. If you're trying to branch out and discover new wines and new grapes that you've never heard of, like I was and I am, this has to be on your radar, and you need to find a way to get it into your hands. With how light and delicate this wine is, I would be hesitant to pair it with food, but that's just my personal preference because I love drinking it. I might go with a cheese and cracker plate, definitely something extremely light, so that way the nuances of flavor don't get overpowered by the food. You could probably also treat this as you would a light Pinot Noir in terms of entrees. But again, you want to taste the wine first and see where to go. I think the good call on this is to treat it as an appetizer wine. If you've got some friends over and are looking to go 2-3 bottles deep, you start with this one. I could make this bottle disappear in the next half an hour easily, no problem. But in the interest of science, I am going to exercise restraint and open a bottle of something else. That said, though, I'm going to have at least one more glass and get back to you in 24 hours, and we'll see how the rest of the bottle goes. Right about. And we're back. We're at about T plus 20 hours right now. It's just a little early, but it's kind of hard to contain my enthusiasm about this wine. So we're going to dip into it a little sooner than I would otherwise. Accept my humble apologies for that. Already, the nose is very stable, not detecting much of a loss. The pepper is still quite there. Fruits still asserting themselves pretty well. I feel like maybe some more of that pomegranate cranberry that comes in later in the taste is showing up more in the nose, so muting the strawberry and raspberry notes a little bit. Not as fruity up front. It's maybe more of a raspberry taste as opposed to strawberry at this point. The pomegranate comes through a lot more than the cranberry still there on the finish. I'd say the pepper is not as prevalent quite yet. I'll take a second sip and see. Okay, so right around the very front of my tongue, I'm getting the pepper coming through, but it's a very quick hit. Fades into the background, giving the fruit a lot more of a showcase, I would say. I'm still really able to enjoy every unique flavor that those fruits are providing. And I'm just blown away by how gorgeous this wine is. All told, fantastic wine. Pick it up as soon as you see it and enjoy. Thanks for watching. The owls are not what they seem.